Let's bring in Tony Dungy of Football Night in America. Tony, what stood out from the report for you?
Well, the one line, Dan, that stood out to me is this. We believe it is unlikely that an equipment assistant and a locker room attendant would deflate game balls without Brady's knowledge and approval. And I can just tell you, in the real world of professional football, that's absolutely the case. The quarterback knows those balls. He wants them a certain way, and that's the way they're going to be. We've all, you watch baseball and you see pitchers throw balls back to the umpire. Something's a little bit wrong with that ball. They don't want to throw that ball. They know it. You've heard the stories about Ted Williams having a box of 30 bats and saying this is a half an ounce lighter. Send this bat back to the manufacturer. When you deal with that every day and that's your life, you know what those balls are supposed to be like. And I can promise you nothing would have happened to a ball in Indianapolis, without Peyton Manning saying, this is the way I want the ball. So we said that at the Super Bowl, and when we heard Tom Brady in the interview with Bob Costas, said this doesn't sound good. He had 3 opportunities to say, I didn't know anything about this, and on camera he didn't say that.
How much is gamesmanship, Tony, compared to cheating? Is there any gamesmanship in here of trying to make a football feel better, more comfortable for the quarterback?
Well, you want to do all that. And, there are rules in the rule book. You've got to wear all your pads. And players don't wear all their pads. And, we highly suggest a mouthpiece and all that. And so there are things that you say, hey, this is in the rule book, but we're not going to, we're not going to really follow this. But I just think in terms of the actual playing equipment, the ball that is used, that to me is something that everyone would say that's not acceptable.
Does Bill Belichick have any knowledge of this? Would a coach have any knowledge of this?
Not necessarily. I try to put myself in that position, and all you can do, if you haven't orchestrated it, which I don't think Bill did, all you can do is go to the parties and say, hey, Tom, do you know anything about this? And if he says no, he didn't, obviously you're going to believe your player and say that's the way we're going to go. But I can promise you this, no equipment man, no employee is going to take it on himself. Nobody that worked for me is going to change those balls without the quarterback knowing and being part of it, or me, and saying, hey, Coach, this is what we're doing. So I think somewhere along the line, it wasn't just these 2 guys in an AFC championship game saying all of a sudden, hey, we're going to try to deflate these balls and see what it looks like, see if this helps our team. I don't believe that at all.
How does this affect Brady's legacy, in your opinion?
Well, I think that's still to be determined. I think he needs to come out and really address this and talk about it and say what happened. I mean, we've seen this in baseball, and the guys, Andy Pettit, comes out and says, hey, I made a mistake. I did this. I thought it was okay, and it wasn't. And people have kind of accepted it. So I think it really depends on what Tom says and how he addresses it.
What if he's defiant? Because it sounds like that, judging from the statement his agent issued, saying that this was a sting operation.
I think, just personally, I think if he's defiant, I don't know that people are going to buy that. I think you read this report and you have to say with all the circumstantial evidence, even though it's circumstantial, most people are going to say, I think he had knowledge of it.
Tony Dungy, Football Night in America, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. I'm going to let you play commissioner. What kind of punishment?
Wow, that's a tough one. I mean, and you look at the performance deals, they've always been tougher on that, whether it's, missed tests or whatever. So I think this is, this is going to be something that the players are going to say, hey, you've punished a lot of people. You need to make this fair. So I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, I think we might get ready for Jimmy Garoppolo opening night when the Patriots host the Steelers, Tone.
I think there's a possibility of that because if it doesn't, well, you're sending a message, and I don't think the commissioner wants to do that. So it'll be interesting, but I think there is going to be some game time. I just have to believe that.
I know you're a Marcus Mariota guy, but your good friend Lovie Smith coaching the Buccaneers. Did the Buccaneers get it right with Jameis Winston?
Well, they believe they did, and that's what counts. And I had a interview in our paper here down in Tampa that came out today. I'm a big Marcus Mariota guy, and I just feel like he's going to be great. So the Bucs did all their research, and they feel like they like Winston better. Then he's got to be a heck of a player and a good person because I know what Marcus is. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I feel like they've done all their homework, and I'm hoping it works out. I want Jameis to come in here and be the kind of leader that the city needs and be the person that can be a role model for these young people that look up to him. So I'm hoping that's the case. I'm counting on that, and we'll see what happens.
But if you had been the coach of the Buccaneers, you would have taken –
I would have taken Mariota. I've been on record as that. Now, I don't know all the facts. I would have investigated Winston more. Maybe in my investigation, I would come up to a different conclusion. But I know Marcus Mariota from 3 years, and I believe in him. That's why I would have taken him and with no questions and no issues.
Your son played for Chip Kelly. He went to Oregon. LaShawn McCoy, in a veiled reference to Chip Kelly, if you want to call that, basically calling him a racist, saying he got rid of all of the good black players. What did you make of those comments by LaShawn McCoy?
Well, I don't think Chip is racist at all. I think Chip has a certain type of person that he likes, and you can see that. But I don't think it has anything to do with race. The first time I ever talked to Chip, it was about disciplining LeGarrette Blount, and he wanted to make sure he was doing the right thing, and he ended up keeping LeGarrette on the team and helping his career. And LeGarrette Blount would in no way, shape, or form be in the NFL right now had it not been for Chip Kelly. Josh Huff, who he drafted, he recruited Josh out of high school, loved him. That's his type of player who happens to be black. Nelson Aguilar is from right here in Tampa. I tried to get Nelson to go to Oregon. Chip loved him coming out of high school and drafted him number one. So I just don't think it has anything to do with race. Certain style of player, certain size, certain talents, yes, and he's going to have a way that he does it, but I don't think it's racial.
Good to visit with you, Tone. Thanks for joining us.
All righty, Dan. We'll see you.
All right, it's Tony Dungy, Football Night in America.